Oh, just
Hey,
image.
here we go. All right, Clint from the doorway too, hanging out with F from I think it's Maudiir. Is how you say it. I'm not sure.
Oh, you're cutting a little.
Every step of the way.
You're
Uh,
cutting a little.
oh,
Yeah.
can you hear me now without any
Yeah,
problems
it's
or?
good. It's good.
Okay.
There might be some lagging. I don't know why, but yeah,
Uh,
you said it right. But the real way to say it in French, of course, is Maudiir. Maudiir. Yeah, yeah, but that's okay. I love the way Anglophones say the word. It's cool too. So,
it's my New York accent. You're lucky that I
yeah.
can even see anything French close at all. But
You're
uh,
pretty close. You're pretty close to French speaking people, though. But now you're in Arizona, in
yeah,
Phoenix,
I'm in
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
I've been in Arizona for like almost 15 years, but yeah, I grew up in New York. So,
Cool.
but yeah, absolutely cool. So, the first thing I kind of want to talk about a little bit is why two EPs a year apart rather than doing a full length record. I'm kind of really curious about that.
Yeah, but when I started the process, doing one EP was like more what faster was faster for me to do that. It was more interesting because when you try to make an album, sometimes you can spend maybe 2 years or more on working on an album, and it's these days with the internet and the business model of music is all screwed up. It's all different from what it was 15 years ago. So better put a lot of stuff in out there, to get some attention. So for me, EPs is it's a great format for that. I can work it for a year, and then setting up a publicity campaign or whatever, and I'm trying to push it. So it's maybe I'm getting more noticed, maybe a little because of that, because on not waiting for 2 years apart for new
Mhm.
releases. So this is just like that for me. It's more interesting. You get to release stuff faster. That's really the
Cool.
point.
Awesome. No, that's great. So I want to talk a little bit about the two records because there's similarities, but to me, there's two drastic differences, and that's kind of where I'm gonna go right now. So the first EP, which is what, like Tempest, I don't know how again, it's more straightforward, kind of black thrash. Like, uh, there's two songs in particular, like Wasteland and Snakes of Creation, that remind me of just like classic 90s black thrash. Like it's just like and I love that. But with the new record, there's kind of a proggy, almost sci-fi element into it as well too. And I kind of wanted to ask, was it done on purpose that the first record was kind of more of a traditional kind of black thrash record, and the second one done with a little bit more of a kind of a proggy kind of spacey edge?
It really it came out naturally for the second one because the first track I worked on was the Crowning Hour, which ended up being the last track on La Part du Dia. And I started experimenting, with less distortion on some guitar parts, and that got the bass real upfront, and I really like that. I added some distortion on the bass tracks too, and so I really like the sound of that. And I'm a very big Rush fan too. I'm always been a very big fan of Alex Lifeson. So there's not I'm not playing Rush. I'm not pretending to be Rush, not at all. But there's some nice coloration guitar chords where I'm trying to introduce into the stuff. I think it's more interesting. Maybe makes it sound a little different from other people. I don't know. So it just started with the Crowning Hour, and then it went from there. So I had a new direction, like you would say, mixing thrash and maybe more prog, and it was just like that. Maybe when I started Le Tempest, I was really rediscovering the old black metal bands from the 90s, Mayhem, Burzum. I skipped that, man, when I was 10 years ago, or maybe in the 90s even. I was listening to Pantera and, Fear Factory, and couldn't
Sure.
care less about Burzum and all that stuff. It was like for me, it was maybe they just sound like a demo, But today, when I listen to those bands, I think it's really refreshing. It's different. They sound it's it's nice to hear something that sounds different and not like everybody else, the big production, super clean sound. So when I started at Tempest, I was really into that scene, that black metal thing. So maybe it's why it's a little more black metal, you would say, that the Tempest than the new one. So it's just naturally like that. I don't know where I'm going for the next one.
That's cool.
I'm gonna try to think about it soon, and just we'll see. We'll see.
Cool. Awesome. So I that's kind of funny because there's two songs in particular on a new record that I really kind of like. They just drew me to the record. I want to talk to you. So one of them is The Crowning Hour. So that's kind of funny that you kind of talked about that. And my reasons are probably going to be completely different and kind of really archaic to you. But so the guitar tone reminds me of, I don't know if you listen to like 80s like hair metal or heavy metal at all, but like
yes.
So you remind me of Chris Holmes from Wasp playing guitar on that.
Cool.
Yeah,
I love Wasp.
It's got this very Wasp guitar tone, but then like the overtone of the music of that one, like the overtone of the song is more like later Celtic Frost and Voivod mixed in. So like it's kind of got that 80s vibe of Wasp, but yet like that thrashy blackness of Voivod and Celtic Frost to me. And that's kind of what really drew me to it. Was it had those, and pop is not a dirty word to me, so I'm going to use it. Like it had some poppy elements that made the song even more interesting with the prog side. So I was wondering, like, if you could kind of talk about The Crowning Hour and a little bit more, what inspired you to have that kind of guitar tone with those vocals and or thing kind of drumming.
Yeah, but it's like I said, I don't remember. I started just with the main riff. I think that song got real screwed around. It took a little time to figure what was the verse in the song, and I was like playing with parts, And then when I found the main way to do it, I found the verse, and okay, that's gonna be like the chorus. Although I don't know if there's really a chorus. It's different sections in the song, and I was trying other stuff. It's just okay. I did the Le Tempest, and I was when you finish a project, you kind of you're kind of a little burned by it, because you spend so much time, especially on the mixing, especially for a Tempest. For me, I was starting to try to mix and in a final format, not just mixing demos, trying to mix it like, okay, it's going to be the final product. So I did a lot of mixes, man, to learn how to do it. So I was, I needed a change. I think, when I started working on the other one. So I just experimented with chords, and those chords they didn't ring well with the full distortion. So I just had to take back a little of the distortion to make those notes kind of not a big mess, because it's power chords. They sound great with a lot of distortion, but when you're trying to like nice little note additions, you have to take back a little, and that showed me that in a mix, the distortion, guitar distortion, takes a lot of space in a mix. It's impressive. So when you take it back, that's stuff starts to appear more like the bass. Guitar starts to it's okay. It cleans the mix a lot. So that's what I'm hearing in a lot of other mix now. I'm listening. There's not that much distortion in the guitars, and some mix I'm listening, like I bought some old Coroner right now. And I'm listening to the Coroner from the 90s. There's not that much distortion in their rhythm guitars, and it sounds super clean and nice. So, and for the rest, the Crowning Hour started like that. And once I found my way through it, I kept on that direction. Maybe not exactly, still spreading a lot, but it gave the tone for it all.
Nice. So the song that I would say to me, if I listen to your band, like feels like the most complete song, and the one that like it's probably my favorite one on the entire record, is Spirit of Sulfur. Cool. And the reason why is, and you did it again, which I think we're on the same wavelength, but like that also gave me that prog meets like classic thrash kind of vibe. And Coroner was one of the bands I was just gonna mention that it really kind of like Voivod, Celtic Frost, Coroner, like maybe you just got a love for like Swiss metal. I don't know. Like
that's funny because Coroner is a band that you're not the only one that mentioned that, and I didn't know Coroner at all, man. I'm not kidding you. I know Voivod for sure. I'm a fan of Voivod.
Yeah.
But Coroner, I knew the name, but never listened to Coroner. So people were starting to mention Coroner, and I said, I'm gonna check them out. It's great, man. I love Coroner now, but I didn't know Coroner before. It's a great thrash metal band. It's as interesting as any of the big thrash metal bands like Testament or anything. Personally, I think I like Coroner more than Testament. But it's very good, and but that's it for it's Voivod is always been a very present in my life, but I'm not either the biggest fan of the first Voivod. I was a really big fan of the album The Outer Limits, which is not that much popular in the Voivod, and I really like the period too with Eric Forrest when Snake wasn't there. There was Negatron and the Phobos after. I really like that period, and recently I started going back into their catalog and actually going to the classics, and it's really great band, unique, and one of the best bands in Quebec for sure.
That's funny you say that because Negatron is my favorite Voivod record.
Yeah,
like that's
it was good.
That's my favorite one of it all. And like I said, if I have to go for a Snake period, I'd probably say Dimension Hatress is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's my favorite one overall, just because of tonality, the way it is. It kind of mixes the old and the new. But yeah, no, that's funny that you say that because a lot of people stay away from the Outer Limits. I think that's a great record. I think the record that people have the most difficult time to digest is Angel Rat.
Yeah.
Just because it's not really a thrash record. And I think that people keep waiting for it to be a thrash record. And that's kind of what I was going to ask you is, so you add a lot of poppy sensibilities into thrash. And I was kind of going to ask you on this a little bit later on, but it works well now. So have you gotten any really interesting or odd comments so far critiquing the band, like something that kind of either put you off in a different thought pattern, or maybe they, said something you're like, oh man, I never heard that before, but yeah, now I go back and listen to it, and you're right. Like you said about the Coroner thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
Has anybody else, like any reviewers, any friends, any just like fans, like said like you went back and, oh man, you're right, I did hear that, or nah, man, you're way off.
But I'm actually very happy when anybody takes time to write about the stuff or mention it like you did, and I checked your review. It's really amazing when these things happen, And but no, for me it was really the Coroner thing that okay, what's that Coroner? Like I told you, I knew the name but never listened to it, and but no, people are picking up things that I knew were there. The Ishan kind of reference. I think that comes from maybe the voice tone. I think I have similar things in the voice tone that Ishan has in his distortion or his black metal voice. And of course, when people mention, some people have mentioned Rush a lot for this EP particularly. They're picking up some Rush on and that's really flattering for me. And I've been, my biggest bands in my life. It's Iron Maiden and Rush from my teen years. They never left me. So if somebody mentions Rush next to me, I'm just the happiest dude on earth. That's it.
Nice. So there's two other bands that I kind of want to bring into the fold. I mean, the Hassan thing from Emperor, I get it. There's a lot of, I'd say the first two solo records he made, your voice is very similar to that.
Okay. Cool.
But Satyricon is another one that I really like. I really feel like there's an element of because Satyricon was some thrash metal elements into their black metal, but it's kind of hidden in the background. You have that kind of cold Satyricon vibe sometimes. The other one that, like, people don't hear it as much, but if they listen to it, they would. I hear a lot of like 90s British death metal. And what I mean by that is like the tonality and just the way it is more of that like Carcass, Entombed kind of sound. It has that kind of buzzsaw kind of vibe sometimes, like that, like really. So were you influenced by any of that like 90s death metal from the UK at all?
But more influenced maybe by the 90s scene in Europe. Largely, like I really the 90s European scene saved me from the 90s American scene. For me, now I can enjoy stuff like Rage Against the Machine, because it's a brilliant first album, But back then it was just that, and it was like crushing everything that I was loving. So I turned to the European metal scene, like Amorphis, and Amorphis has that Entombed sound, maybe end of the first. So I really love the Amorphis, all their albums, especially to Elegy, that I really love that. All that 90s sound, the My Dying Bride stuff, I really love those also. But did that influence Maudiir? It's the sum of everything that I've been listening to all my life. I guess that gets you to that point, where now I'm putting in all the different colorations of what I've been listening to and learned through the years in the songs right now.
Nice. So I guess I'm going to ask you a question that might be real easy for you to answer, but I really just love getting the feedback from musicians when they tell me, like, so you're in Montreal, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So the music scene there is so vibrant and there's so much going on there. I mean, there's so many different kinds of music I listen from there, from post rock to death metal, to just straight out kind of funky bands that are there. Why be a one-man project when you're in Montreal? Like, you have so many people that could help you or like do music with you. Was it always a mindset to just do it on your own, or have you ever thought about having other people work with you?
Actually, I had bands, a lot of bands before that, and it's interesting to work with people, but people leave and they lose interest, and and projects die because of that. You're working on songs and you cannot even record them because everybody has just passed went on to something else. It's a long process. It's you got to be passionate about stuff and stay and focus. So for me, that got me into working alone, because even if there's a lot of musicians in here, they're all in bands themselves. They're all in great bands. So before that, I had Trinity Blast, and we had a whole band, and we lost the drummer, and we started hiring drummers. So that gave an interesting result, but that was a very difficult thing, too, because you hire a drummer, he's going to send you the tracks, and he's going to play them like he wants, and you receive that and it's over, it's done, and you have to record your stuff or arrange it and adapt yourself, So I was at that point when, I did a couple of songs like that. I was getting a little tired of that. So I said, okay, let's do that all alone. Let's just try to work everything. I bought a bass guitar and I started fiddling around it, and I had to sing, and I needed to try the vocals, so I had a mic and I just tried it, and I liked the results, so I kept on doing it. So of course for me that's a great situation, plus the fact that there was COVID-19 and there still is, and if I was working with musicians, I wouldn't be working. It's like they're pretty much all stuck waiting for it to finish. For me, I could do the whole EP during the crisis and be totally able to do it alone, and so it was for me it was ideal for that, to be able to do it all alone. So for musicians, other musicians, of course, if I ever take that live, I would. I'll try. I'll have other musicians with me. That's for sure. But for now, it's I'm happy with the way I'm working like that. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic. I do a lot of music one man myself. I have a band myself, but I do it one man too, and it's for the same exact reasons. Is you can
Yeah.
get so much done, and I completely understand that. So I want to talk about the two album covers because they're very, very similar but really different. So like I almost feel like the first record or the first EP has more of a, again, primitive kind of album cover where there's more decay on it, where the new record kind of has more of that modern, again, futuristic kind of feel. But yet they're both black and white, and they're both kind of grim in the way they are. Why have two album covers so similar in less than a year's time frame? Like that's kind of, I think it might be a little confusing for the listeners because they're not going to know which one they're really looking at because they look very similar. But
take the two, listen to the two.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Were you trying to say like it doesn't matter which one you listen to, just pick one, listen to it, and then listen to the other one and kind of get the whole exposure? Or was there a real reason behind one being the album cover like this and one being the album cover like that?
The real reason is those pictures are taken by my brother. Who's,
okay.
My brother is kind of the second member of Maudiir, so he's always there, in the background, working on stuff for me visually or stuff like that. So that was his pictures. And the first one, the Tempest, there was lyrics more maybe about the environment and stuff like that. So we wanted something that represents that. That building is an old incinerator in Montreal. So my brother took a picture during a snowstorm. So that's in the picture. It's real. Those things that looks like specks, and that's snow. That's a snowstorm. So he took that picture, and okay, that's nice. It fits. For the second one, we wanted again, to have a continuity, or that, I don't know if we're gonna keep that visuals for the next ones, but yes, we wanted to have a sort of continuity, and the lyrics were different, maybe more political, less environment. So we tried to take another side of Montreal that's can be grim, like the downtown. There's nice things in downtown, but there's homeless people. There's difficulties too. It's could be grim. So that building, it's kind of, I think it took the pictures like maybe it's from the gutter, because that building is standing over you and crushing you. It's a financial building in Montreal too. So that's those are two things too that are nice. It's for us. It's a project that's homegrown. Do it yourself in Montreal, and those are two pictures of the city too. So that's continuity too. So
cool.
That's it for now. Don't know what we're going to do next for the other ones.
Nice. So if you could make a video, like a proper video for any song off of either one of the EPs, which one would you want to do and why?
I think I would do the Slumber.
Okay.
I guess, but I'm relying on comments from people too to choose the songs, because when you close to that, you close to the songs like that, you don't see clearly necessarily. So I'm relying on people like my brother and other friends who tell me you should maybe try that. I wouldn't choose it. I would have chosen the Spirit of Sulfur as a second single. So that was suggested by me and by other people. So I didn't regret that at all. It was a good choice. It's coming up like favorite songs from a lot of people. So, but so I would go maybe for the singles, maybe like either the Slumber or Spirit of Sulfur for videos. But being alone, I'm not too sure what kind of video that would be. It wouldn't be a band playing. That's impossible. So I don't know yet what I would be doing like as a professional video with those songs.
Got you.
You have to figure that out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, I would love to see Spirit of Sulfur as a video. I think that'd be really cool. So,
Cool.
Again, my favorite song off the record, so I guess I'm in good company. So I this is probably going to be a tough question, but I want you to try and honestly answer it. So after having some time and probably being sick of listening to the two records over and over again to make sure that like you got what you wanted, is there anything that you would like to change now on those records? Like, is there a part, is there a song, is there something that like maybe there's a song you wanted to put on that you feel like you maybe missed out on? Like, talk to me a little bit about now looking back. Is there anything that you'd like to do differently on either one of those EPs?
Yeah, for sure. For the first one, maybe I did. Some people are telling me that the production is a little better, maybe still on La Part du Diable than it was on the Tempest. So I gained some experience. So I would, if I would mix the Tempest right now, I would mix it maybe a little differently. So that's what I would redo. But of course, if I listen to those songs now, of course I would be okay. Like might be that section of a song, I would do it maybe a little differently, or you gain experience, even recording. Okay, the bass now I can feel it. It's I'm not playing as hard. Maybe in that part I would redo that right now, but it's okay like that. It's just craziness. At some point people don't notice that stuff very much anyway. So for La Part du Diable, I'm really happy because I'm getting really nice reactions from people. So I wouldn't change too much on it because it's getting good reviews and nice reactions. So I'm really happy about it. And I haven't had any other songs anyway that I would put on them because I'm putting everything that I have. If a song doesn't make it, it's usually dropped even before I get to the lyrics or stuff like that. So there's nothing else, to put on them. So it's everything I worked for that year. It's there.
Perfect. Awesome. So that was the next thing I was going to ask actually is, do you normally have lyrics already set for the songs, or is it always music that comes first?
It's always music. Yeah. Even the lyrics, I'm usually when I get to that part, I'm just like thinking, okay, I'm looking for subjects, just staying in tune with the news or stuff like that. Just okay, I'm gonna talk about this. So I pinpoint a subject and I start working on it. And sometimes it just veers off into something else, because okay, even if I like Fractures I started talking about religious fanaticism and not sex, but religious fanaticism, and it just veered off into the whole political crisis everywhere with COVID-19, and it all went there for the lyrics because it was such a big part of our lives. It was everywhere on the news, and a lot of difficult situations in your country that were influencing, because talking about politics with America and with an American is always tricky because I don't want to get too much into that, because I'm not an American, so what can I say, but your country is the leader of the free world, so you have influence. What happens in your country has influence everywhere. So now I think this year, just to tell you, I think we watched your elections more than we ever watch our elections. So that tells you a lot.
I think the world did.
Yes, exactly. So that tells you a lot, of the influence and the importance of what is happening in your country, and of course the other big countries in the world that are. So Canada is this big geographical country, but it's not that powerful of a country. So that's an EP that all the whole things that were happening on the news, that really got into the lyrics. Even if we're starting a subject, it was always veering into that.
Okay. No, awesome. No, I agree. Like I tell my friends, politically we can be diametrically opposed as long as we like the same music, the same movies, the same kind. Like we could be friends, man. That's never gonna.
Yeah.
That's where my friendship comes. We can yell and argue politically all day long. That's fine. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
guess.
So I kind of want to ask also, being that you are more of an underground musician, like, do you find it hard being a one man project, doing it DIY, doing it yourself, like not having a label backing? Um, the reason why I ask is I've run record labels, I've been on record labels, I've done my magazine for years, and I almost feel it's more freeing, in my opinion, to either work with a little label or do it myself than have to deal with the endless bullshit of a bigger label. And
Yeah.
I've been on both sides. Like
Okay.
I've literally been on a major metal label and I've been on small metal labels. But
Wow.
what's your thoughts or opinions like doing it DIY? Do you feel like you're seeing more success this way, or do you think if you did jump onto a record label that they would be able to do something more than what you're doing?
For me, I never been on a big record label, so you're one of the few people I know that has done that. So I don't know how it is, but you hear stuff for sure. You hear stuff, and now with the internet, it's you can do a lot of stuff on your own, and publicize yourself. So you don't need maybe that much of a label as you used to, but you're kind of a needle in a haystack too. That's the difficulty, because there's so many bands now and so many people that are able to do what I'm doing, one-man bands or maybe projects. Even if you're a whole band, you can record pretty much easily now and with good quality. So for me, I'm happy with the do-it-yourself thing, but for sure, if I were to produce CDs and vinyls and stuff like that, which I'm starting to maybe think about doing, I would like to have distribution for that for sure. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big label, but some entry point into somewhere, because I've done throughout the years with other bands. I've done the do-it-yourself CDs, with the boxes, and I still have boxes here, man. Yeah, I still have boxes of old projects. I'm kind of tired of that. I would like to, have projects that are taken by distributors and distributed. That's the thing. So for me, yeah, Maudiir, I would be interested now in having some kind of distribution for a physical thing, but if it doesn't happen, that's okay too. It's still spreading through Spotify and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, so that's amazing. Spotify, it's not amazing for the money it gives you, but it's amazing to think that somebody in Ukraine is listening to your songs. That's the 12 or 15 or 20 years ago. That was like impossible already. You'd have to have a label to get your CD there. So that's really nice for now to spread yourself.
Very cool. If you need help with distribution, I'm always around, man. I definitely could help you out with that. So please stay in
Cool.
touch with that, because like that's what this is all about. It's about the underground, helping each other out, making sure you get what you want. I'll just totally on a side note, I'll just tell you, be careful with the vinyl because it becomes expensive very fast, and it's not easy to move. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, like you legitimately will move a couple, maybe 100, 150 of them, and then they'll just sit there because that's just
Okay.
kind of what it is. But like, cassettes and CDs, they move. So
Oh
you
yeah,
get,
they still move. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, because I'm still buying CDs, man. I'm just an
right.
old guy. So
Same here.
I'm not downloading music even. I don't even have an iPhone. I don't have a phone, so I'm still buying CDs because,
Yeah.
but I'm the old way for that. But that, of course, I would like to have these two EPs in CD format because that's where I'm from.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
absolutely.
guess the vinyl thing, it's costly to produce. Huh?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
expensive to produce. Yeah.
oh, yeah. You're talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars just for a couple hundred records. So yeah, it's expensive. But I don't mean to delve into that world for these people. So
Yeah.
so the I guess what I would ask you is is there any style of music that you would love to add into the Maudiir sound, or is there something that like now you're thinking about adding that you've not done before?
But that's the point where I am now. It's trying to figure out where I'm going to go. So I think I'm gonna try to keep it natural. You know, if it gets heavier and faster, it's gonna be like that. You know, but
Mhm.
to consciously try to add some stuff. I'm not too sure. What I always wanted to do is add
Okay.
bluesy stuff in black metal. So that's pretty hard to do, you know. But that's what I tried to do to some of my lead playing. Maybe to have some bluesy notes in there, you know. That's kind of a really different thing for me. I don't hear that a lot in black metal bands, you know. So that was a conscious effort to try to put some blues into the leads into black metal songs. But
Nice.
apart from that, it's never truly a conscious thing to okay, I'm gonna put more progressive stuff in it. No, it's really it really got out like that. It's really you know it's I wrote some songs and oh okay it's more proggy. Oh wow, it's just like
Yeah.
that this year.
Very
So
cool. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
awesome. There's some bands out there that mix some really strange elements. I'll send you a couple of links so you can have them.
Okay.
There's a band out of the Midwest in the U.S. here that actually adds like bluegrass and blues into black metal. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
I'll definitely I'll send it over to you. I think you'll
What's the
see it.
name? I think I might know.
They're called Penasiacan.
No. Okay, I don't
Yeah,
know. Cool.
and yeah, they're on a label called Bind Ruin out of Minnesota, and they literally put like bluegrass and blue like old school like
My
1920s and 30s blues into
oh
black
wow.
metal, and yeah, it's really interesting. But I'll send it over to you. I think you'll
Yeah,
dig it a lot.
sure, man.
Yeah,
Sure. It's interesting the stuff, different stuff, man. You know, you get tired at some point of listening to the everybody this doing the same thing. So it's really black metal is a really open gender for
yeah,
that. Eh? You can do anything. That's what I like about black metal, and you can make it sound anything you want. You know, there's
right.
no pressure of sounding like okay the I don't know some genres of metal you have to have that tone. You know, it's
I
got to sound like that. But black metal, man, you can sound like recorded on a 4 track in the deep forest or whatever, or have a more modern approach and it's and mix everything in there. So it's a really nice gender of metal for that.
I agree. Um, so I guess I'm going to start wrapping it up. I got a couple more questions, but uh, if you had to, and you had to give like your elevator pitch, your basic. Let's say somebody's going to listen to the record for the very first time and has never heard you ever. How would you kind of explain it to them for their very first listen?
Uh, how would I explain that to them? Well, it's just man, it's just the blood, sweat, and tears of a one-man guy working his ass off for 1 year, and you know it's accumulation of years of playing you know melodic heavy metal from the 80s and plus the going through the 90s and the modern sounding stuff and trash and the big guitars and so it's a mix of all that you know and rediscovering the black metal as it was the really raw black metal that you said like Satyricon and stuff like that. I really love Satyricon. They're very open-minded and they try different stuff in their albums. So it's really that you know coming from the 80s with the melodic Iron Maiden Judas Priest thing and going into a modern, more heavy guitar tone, and going back and bringing the old raw black metal stuff into it. I guess I would try to say it like that, and then if he's still listening to me after that, not falling asleep. That's okay. Tell me what you think about the album now.
Well, no, absolutely. That's a great way to explain it. And funny enough, I almost started using Judas Priest as a reference point in the review I was doing for you, but I was afraid that I wasn't hearing that element. And now that you say it, I like bite my tongue saying like, why did I not talk about that? Because like I heard that, like I heard those, especially in kind of the way the bass lines were going. It reminded me of old Judas Priest a lot.
Cool.
So very, very cool, man. Very cool. So my last question, I ask everybody this, and I just always love to see the responses. So if you could have one artist, living, dead, I don't care, band, it could be any style, it doesn't matter. Take your brand new EP and make it their own and re-record it. Who would you want it to be and why?
Oh my God. Re-record it.
Yeah, so they'll take those songs and make it their own.
Oh wow. I really don't know. I really don't know who I'd like to. Maybe Ishan, maybe Ishan, his own take on this stuff. It would be, I guess, it's very advanced musically. Ishan, very experimental. So I would wonder what he would do with the songs. Where he would take them differently. Yeah, I guess.
Cool. No, that would be personally, in my opinion, I think he'd take it very jazzy. Because
sure.
Because that's kind of, it seems like that's his new love. He kind of adds a lot of jazzy elements into everything. So, but no, very cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the next couple of minutes before we wrap this up to talk about any other projects you do, anything you're doing right now, and what the future Maudiir is. So it's your time to talk.
Cool. If you want to listen to other stuff I did that I really still like, it's Trinity Blast. Trinity Blast is a project we worked really hard on it. We had three songs. We recorded 3 songs with Kevin Talley, who is a drummer in Suffocation and Dying Fetus. So I just sent him the tracks and he sent me the drums, and we recorded 3 tracks like that. And then after we did 2 other tracks with Antoine Barry, who's a drummer from Augury in Quebec, and a great drummer too. He did the bass. So those are nice songs too, of more melodic, because the singer's singing a mix of melodic Iron Maiden maybe a little, and screams too. There's a mix of that, and it's more like a progressive thrash. We had maybe some colorations of Nevermore, which I really like.
Nice.
The band Nevermore, I love Nevermore. And so that if people want to check that out, it's those songs are on Bandcamp too, and YouTube and Spotify, everywhere. And there's always the old project, the Tears for the Dead Gods, that I did in 2005. That's been really that was a difficult album to make. It took me a while. It cost a lot of money. It's a progressive concept album that I did long ago. It's very different too. It's that old 15 years ago sound that we had in Montreal for the drums and everything. So still an interesting listen to people if they want to check that out. And for the future of Maudiir, like I'm saying, I'm starting to try to be in the mood of creation, of a renewal. Try renewal of the sounds that I have, to try and not repeat the same thing. So I haven't written anything yet, but I'm starting to get in the mood to do that and see where it's going. So apart from that, just listen to it on Spotify and download it from Bandcamp. It's in the format pay what you want, or download it for free. The only thing I'd appreciate for people if they download it for free is to like the Facebook or share with friends. Share the music. I just wanted we make music for people to listen to it, to spread it. So that's the first point, because the money thing is really difficult in this business now, and as it ever was. It's always been difficult, but now it's really you do that for passion, music. So
Yeah.
That's it. So people go into the on the Bandcamp and take the albums and spread the love.
Awesome. Well, I'll
Yeah.
make sure the Bandcamp links and the Facebook links and all that stuff are down as well when this gets up. But again, thank you so very much for this. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad I got to spend some time and talk with you. And again, Clint from the Doorway too, hanging out with Maudiir. And like I said, best of luck. And if you ever do play live, let me know. I'd love to be able to come see you. So.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for your review too. It's a first for me, man, to get a video review from somebody in Phoenix, Arizona. Wow, that's so cool, man. That's the modern world we're living in. So thanks a lot.
Hey, absolutely. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too.